How's it going, everyone? This is Brody from the VEXU team AAMU1, and in this video, we're going to be going over the um, pushback first update. So, this is now version 0.2 that we are on. Of course, on June 5th is when the first update came out, and so we're going to kind of come down here to the changelog, and real quickly, we're just going to kind of go over everything that they've changed so far, and then, of course, the big update will be that we'll dive a bit further into will be the sizing rules, which I think they have clarified. Where was it again? Yes, here it is. Updated SG2 and SG3 to clarify vertical and horizontal expansion limits. And so we'll dive further into that because really that's the biggest one that people have been wondering about and seeing if they would update. All right, so now to start off, version 0.2, June 5th, 2025. So they added a link to the obsoleted game manual version in the update section so that you can use it as a reference during the update grace periods. Of course, in recent years, we've not had that, and so now you will have it more easily accessible because before you basically had to save a copy of the game manual in order to have the most recent one, but now they're basically saying, hey, you have it available to you during that grace period. So that's great. They clarified the most current version of the English language PDF of the manual, and that takes precedent over any other supplemental or translated material. They updated the definition of lifting to clarify intent, so we might actually take a look after we take a look at the SG2 and SG3 at lifting. Then they updated the definition of the control zone to clarify the boundaries. Revised SC2 to clarify that blocks must be in contact with the inside surfaces of the plastic trough to be considered as scored. Updated GG1A to clarify that devices are allowed in the alliance selection, but may not be used for any reason during a match. Using devices for translation purposes post-match is allowed. Updated GG13 to clarify that an alliance will be ineligible to receive an autonomous win point if they commit a violation during the autonomous period. I guess I must not have realized that that wasn't already in the rules, so good thing they clarified that. Updated SG2 and SG3 to clarify the vertical and horizontal expansion limits, of course. Like I said, that's the main one we'll be going over. Revised SG7 and added a new figure to clarify intent regarding blocks starting on the autonomous line. Added a bullet to SG9 to clarify that blocks that bounce out of a loader while being loaded into the field should not be considered a violation. Hey, so you might see teams take advantage of that rule, so we'll see if Vex keeps it that way or if they end up making it a violation in the future. Updated SG10 to clarify intent. Then revised wording of R6AI and R6B to clarify intent. Added the VEX Smart Field Controller brains to list of prohibited items in R19. That, okay, I guess that was something that had to be clarified. Updated R20I to include metric equivalents. Added a bullet to RSC2B to clarify intent. Updated the list of acceptable field modifications to T6 and added them to the end of Appendix A. Revised VUG3 to clarify that match load blocks may be entered into the field during the driver controlled period. I didn't realize that that wasn't already just inferred, so cool. And then minor typo and formatting fixes. All right, so let's just go ahead and hop down to SG2 and SG3. And of course, this is the first release here, version 0.1. And so if we come down here, we'll just scroll down to SG to see what the difference was. All right, so here's what the original said. Of course, once match begins, robots may expand horizontally beyond the 18 by 18 starting size limit. I think that says the same here. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So now, in the original one, it said, of course, that no horizontal dimension may exceed 22 inches at any points during the match, and that this limit refers to the horizontal distance measured between any 2 points of the robot, including the diagonals, relative to the playing field. And so let's see what they have now. Okay, so the robot can never be larger than 22 inches wide or 22 inches long. Must always be able to fit within a 22 inch by 22 inch square horizontal footprint. Okay, so that definitely clarifies it a lot for people because in my original CAD and stuff that I was drawing in interpreting the rule as, it was basically that 22-inch circle overlaying the 18-inch square. So I'm glad that they clarified that yes, it is the 22-inch square horizontal footprint. So yeah, basically this, I'd say B, this part of B you can basically ignore, and so yeah, no horizontal dimension may exceed 22 inches in general. All right, so now scrolling on down to SC3 or SG3, vertical expansion is of course limited. So once the match begins, robots may expand vertically beyond the 18-inch starting size limit within the following criteria. I think that's the same. Originally it said no part of the robot may exceed an overall height of 22 inches at any point during the match. And this limit refers to the vertical distance from the field or the structure of the park zones while moving across them to the highest point of the robot and does not rotate with the robot. Now it says no part of the robot may exceed an overall height of 22 inches at any point during the match, must always be able to fit within a hypothetical 22 inch by 22 inch cubic sizing box. And so this actually is a bit more like best robotics sizing, may potentially be how they do it, because I think in best they basically use a box from what I understand. And so that'll definitely be interesting to see. And then of course you had so now you don't have to worry about like if your robot like bounces off of the parking zone, then you don't have to worry about accidentally violating that 22-inch, because it looks like this one, yeah, now it does rotate, I guess, with the robot when you're at an angle. So it'll be interesting to see how teams interpret that rule as we go throughout the season. And so let's scroll back up here to the changelog to kind of look at some more, because I didn't realize only 7 minutes. Okay. Whoops, that is wrong one. There we go. So now, SC2, that was easy enough. So let's look at the lifting to clarify intent. So lifting is controlling an opponent's movements by raising or tilting the opponent's robot off of the foam tiles. Preventing a robot that is already off of the floor from returning to the floor may also be considered lifting or trapping. I guess this second part mainly here is what they didn't have originally. Alright, so let's scroll back up again. Oh, page 4. And I think that's pretty much it as far as big rules. Let's just take a look at SG7 real quick to see what they were referring to there. I'm trying to kind of see a difference between the two. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay. So, these blocks circling array would be considered to be in contact with the autonomous line. Okay, so I guess they do need to be... Was it saying they do need to be in contact with the autonomous line? Regarding blocks starting on the autonomous line. Oh, okay, so contact with either of the following during the autonomous period will result in the autonomous bonus and autonomous win point being awarded to the opposing alliance, unless the opposing alliance also breaks rules in the autonomous period. An opponent robot that isn't interacting with the autonomous line or objects that begins the match positioned above or in contact with the autonomous line. An opponent robot that isn't interacting with the autonomous line or objects that begin the match. Oh, okay. So that's what they meant, like with them being in contact with the autonomous line. Gotcha. And blocks that begin the match on the other side of the autonomous line. Alright. So yeah, I would say that's pretty much the majority of what we needed to cover. Since we are a VEXU team, I'm just going to really quickly look at the VUG3 real quick to clarify the match lows blocks maybe entered into the field during. I think that's just basic. Yeah, they just basically updated that to say, oh, you can add the blocks in during the driver control period. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. So if you guys enjoyed this quick update video on the new game manual that released a few days ago, then please make sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on this initial update. Of course, there will be another one later this month with the version 1.0 update, I believe, on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken. or whoops, no, that's, yeah, updates will be, yeah, June 26th is when version 1.0 will come out, and that's when I'll also do another video on the version 1.0 update. And so if you guys found this video helpful and under, figuring out the new rules, then please make sure to comment, like, subscribe to our channel also so that you can be here for when that new version 1.0 video will come out later. We also do cat streams sometimes. And so with all that said, I've been Brody, and thank you for watching.